after school's out or for when?
Let's go after school's out.
I mean, I would love to, but I really don't think I can afford it right now.
You're telling me you work all those hours and you can't afford to go to Disneyland?
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, I mean, $8, I just don't think it's cutting it anymore. And also, too, Disneyland prices have increased by what, $4? But $4 is like such a huge difference. And with food and with parking and, I gotta buy Disney stuff, I'm gonna be so tempted. I don't think I can afford it. But with gas and books for school and my tuition, I don't think I can afford it.
Okay, well, so 6 years ago was the last time California had an increase in minimum wage. And ever since then, the cost of living has drastically gone up. So it's unfortunate when you aren't able to afford necessities from groceries to school supplies to gas. Wouldn't it be nice to afford what we need and what we want comfortably? For those of us who are in college, many of us aren't able to afford the necessities for school with the type of financial aid the financial struggles that we face. Those of us who are employed with a minimum wage pay are not making enough to buy books, supplies for schooling. Unfortunately, many of us are in debt trying to pay off our loans and credit card bills. The minimum wage should be increased to $10.10 an hour because it will highly benefit those who are struggling to pay their bills and expenses with the current pay rate. First, we will share the background of minimum wage. Second, the cause of why minimum wage hasn't increased. And finally, the future outcome of the new increase.
Right, so minimum wage precisely is the lowest fixed amount by law for employees. And really, it all started when Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. When he first proposed it, it was thoroughly analyzed and criticized, and all he could get out of it was 25 cents an hour at 44 hours a week. Now, fast forward, we get $8 an hour and a maximum of 40 hours a week. But if you work more than 8 hours a day, you get pay and a half. And if it's over 12, it's double pay.
Okay. Now I'm going to talk about the cause of why minimum wage hasn't been increased. So we can look specifically at our politicians, but mainly the Republicans who are very opposed to increasing the minimum wage. Top Republicans like Speaker of the House John Boehner and Marco Rubio have pointed out that they would vote against the minimum wage increase. And actually, according to Gallup poll, over 76% of Americans are in favor of a minimum wage increase. So it's a problem that our government isn't representing our interests in. Also, according to Reuters.com, recently there was Obama's proposal to raise the federal minimum wage from $7.25 an hour to $10.10 an hour across the country. But that was defeated by the filibuster in the Senate because the Democrats needed 60 votes for it to pass, and they only got 54 votes. So the Democrats in the Senate blasted the Republicans for not getting in line with current people's views about minimum wage. And that is why minimum wage so far has not been increased countrywide.
All right, so now that we've talked about why minimum wage hasn't increased yet, I'm going to talk about some of the beneficial outcomes. So according to thinkprogress.org, Bruce Covert says that raising minimum wage would mean higher earnings for about 16.5 million workers, which is a really big number. So with all of those workers, I bet a majority of them are really suffering from financial and economic struggles, which a lot of us unfortunately have to deal with. And so by increasing that minimum wage to $10.10 an hour, that means $31 billion more would be in higher earnings, which would really help a lot of families out. And by helping a lot of families out, that means that families can have more income going into their household. They'll be able to buy their groceries, their necessities, and even luxuries a lot more comfortably because they do have a lot more money. And maybe parents that never got a chance to go to school or finish can go back. They can send their kids off to school. Grandparents and parents that are getting up in age can retire comfortably as well. And overall, people will be able to just live and buy whatever they need in an easy manner.
Now that we have all said that, now let's start to wrap things up. We think by increasing minimum wage to 10 an hour, the working population will be able to pay and afford their expenses, necessities, and luxuries. Firstly, we talked about background information. Secondly, we talked about the cause of the minimum wage hasn't increased. And lastly, we talked about the future outcome of the new income. So we leave you guys off with the thing is about the income and the increasing of the minimum wage is not about income equality. We know that there's people that get paid more and less than other people, but that's because the elite people of the corporations find a way to pay the people less than what they really are worth. You know, we have elite as in McDonald's. They pay the workers only $8 an hour, but they're fighting for $15, which is dramatic. You know, it's not reasonable to do that. And then is also as if people will begin to feel as if they're working in sweatshops because they're gonna feel that they're getting paid less than what they're actually supposed to be getting paid with. So that's why we believe that the minimum wage should be raised to $10 an hour.
All right, so just to leave you with this, you guys, well, to all of you, for an example, as college students, we're trying to make a living. We're trying to better our education, better our lives, and the reason why we are going to school is so that we can have a steady career that does pay well. And if we increase minimum wage, we'll be able to afford things better. We'll be able to pursue our college education and anything else that we desire to achieve. Did we get it?
Yeah.